Welcome to I Heart Geek. Spaceballs! Welcome to I Heart Geek. I'm happy. I'm so excited for this episode. We can do
Spaceballs, the podcast.
This is the Mel Brooks movie that we can do and not have to do anything that says political correctness, because he didn't do anything too off on Spaceballs. Well, a little bit. Dang, I forgot.
A little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But not as bad as Mel Brooks usually does.
But when you're in the world of Mel Brooks, it's like you just kind of
you can get away with
roll with it. Yes.
You know, if you have thin skin, don't watch a Mel Brooks movie and complain about it, because I don't.
None of us want to hear it.
No. Okay, so welcome to I Heart Geek.
Yourself into.
Oh,
you go into the corner, you think about that.
You go watch Blazing Saddles, and you go tell me what you think about it. With the greatest fart scene in history.
Oh.
And the
they cut that out. When it plays on television, that scene is not in it.
Which is a tragedy.
And a travesty. Really is.
There's nothing even. Wow.
Same with Comb the Desert. When they play Spaceballs on TV, Comb the Desert, he goes, Comb the Desert. I said Comb the Desert. And you see them combing, and then they cut out the we ain't found.
Okay. Well, I get that. I get it. I get that you can't play that on TV because that's one of George Carlin's 7 dirty words.
Well, they didn't have to. They could just cut it before, but they cut out the entire scene. So there's not two black guys combing the desert with the pick.
Is it because one of them have the pick? Is that why? Is it because the pick?
I have no idea. They will not play that scene.
Is. Well,
people, throw a sense of humor, please. Sorry. Okay.
Well, we're as a nation. Oh God, I'm making it serious.
Don't.
Sorry.
You dare, Satomi.
We're readjusting what the national view is.
Well,
and
without being political, we will say this. You need to be able to laugh at yourself and things around you, and that's the only way healing happens.
Why you think I talk like this sometimes?
Okay. He's the best Jew jokes in the world because he's Jewish. I mean, it's...
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he gets away with a lot, though. He really does.
Oh, he gets away with a lot. Okay, let me introduce the panel. We are all over the board today. I got to reel it in a little bit. Okay, I'm Dub, and I'm your producer. And again, we're doing Spaceballs, and I am so excited for this one. For our regular panelist, we have Miss Satomi Hoffman. How are you doing today?
I'm doing okay, except I got to tell you, last weekend I had an argument with a sidewalk, and unfortunately, the sidewalk won.
I think do we need to did you run into a door? Do we have to have that talk?
No, you know what? It was that classic East Coast, like, broken sidewalk that was as high as a curb would be, except it was in the place where you're supposed to be able to walk.
I'm so glad I live in Vegas. Yeah.
Yeah. Do we need to have a fight with the sidewalk? I can help you fight the sidewalk.
We don't talk about sidewalks.
Sledgehammer, y'all.
Sidewalk Fight Club. We don't talk about that.
We don't talk about Sidewalk Fight Club. What are you doing? No, I literally was doing my impersonation of Empire Strikes Back when the AT-ATs go down. It's like just walking.
She went face first.
Oh, heck yeah.
It all goes into slow motion too. You're like,
it does.
Oh, for those
and
that
I
are
literally hear
for those on the video side or the audio side, like, what are they talking about?
I'm all bandaged up. But I got to tell you, the funniest moment, and then I will let this go, is whoa, I'm down, and I hear from the window of the apartment, my friend, Satomi's down.
You live in that kind of neighborhood? That's awesome. See, when I think New York neighborhood, I'm thinking it's a bunch of people laughing about somebody falling on the floor.
Usually.
Okay, that's my preconceived notion of New York.
Or it's not acknowledged at all.
Okay, well, shut up down there.
Yeah.
My life revolved around sitcoms. That's all I get.
Y'all got to spend some time in New York. You'll understand a lot more of the references.
I've always wanted to go, but no, I'm good.
Yeah. Okay. Spaceballs. Going on.
Okay, we also have semi-regular guest, Miss Ellie. How are you doing today?
I am doing fantastic. I am rocking a Star Wars t-shirt, and I am ready to discuss the amazing Spaceballs, the movie.
Outstanding.
Not the flamethrower, the movie.
The movie, the merchandise. We're talking
merchandise.
Spaceballs, the merchandise. Man, these jokes are hitting before they should be hitting. Okay, and finally, we have one of my oldest friends in the world. We have Mr. Skeeter. How are you doing, bud?
I am outstanding. Glad to be here today from sunny, cool California.
It is cool
Woohoo.
today in Vegas too. It's nice.
Yeah,
And,
it's nice
and in New
out.
York, it's snowing. Right?
Not yet, but it's cold. Although, Skeeter, I got to tell you, just because he's not here today, Bly's, shout out, hey, what's going on?
Happy birthday.
Happy
Happy
birthday!
birthday,
buddy.
guys.
We miss you.
And I mean, Bly's, I want to let you know that Skeeter is wearing a Batman t-shirt that actually looks like
Baby Yoda.
a Baby Yoda head. So in your honor,
we had to have a Baby Yoda joke.
we love you,
today.
Bly's. We love you.
Love you.
Can we talk about this for a second? How do you not love Baby Yoda?
I don't understand.
I don't understand.
I
And
don't
since he's not here to
understand.
defend himself, I just think you're a bad person if you don't like Baby Yoda.
It really speaks to a problem in somebody's psyche, a
It is.
deep-seated,
I mean, we're talking hours of therapy. Hours of
at
therapy.
least.
Years.
Yes.
Years of
Baby-
therapy.
Baby
Call
Yoda
BetterHelp.
is. They have, by the way, they just came out with some Baby Yoda onesies. I mean, I know people have made them on their own, like on Etsy and stuff, but actually, it's officially merchandise now that you can.
Can
have,
we
like, a
get one
onesie.
in Bly's size?
We're going to look.
I can look into that for you.
We're going to look.
I know a guy.
And let's be honest, if Spaceballs were being released today, Baby Yoda would be all
Would
over
be in it. Oh, well,
Yeah.
you know
Oh,
what?
oh.
I think that yogurt. Okay,
Baby
let's just
yogurt.
let's jump into
Baby
this.
yogurt.
Baby.
Baby yogurt would be in the
yogurt.
sequel.
And he would have a theme song. It would be Baby Yogurt. Do, 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 baby.
No, it would be
Oh,
baby
this kills me.
yogurt. Baby yogurt.
Oh.
And
Oh, why was Mel Brooks? Why didn't he write like Broadway musicals? All his movies are basically Broadway musicals.
well,
They
he
should
did.
be.
He
I mean,
He
he
did?
became.
I did not
Producers
know that,
became
actually.
a Broadway musical. Young Frankenstein became a Broadway musical. Not as good as the producers.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard horror stories on that one.
Well, I mean, not everything can be
Not everything can be Men in Tights. I'm just saying.
exactly.
Wow.
This is another
Tights.
fantastic Mel Brooks film.
No, I
Weird
got to show this if you're watching on air. This is every Mel Brooks movie. Let's see. All of them.
I love
It's
Mel
missing a couple
Brooks.
because I'm actually watching them all right now.
Anxiety.
So yeah, we're gonna be talking.
I
We're
love
doing a Mel
Mel
Brooks
Brooks.
movie show. I think in about 2 months. Yes,
Yeah, it's because
So-
it's difficult to talk about a single
it is.
film that he made
You
without talking
But we're
reference
gonna
all of
try.
them.
We're gonna try. We've already failed horribly, but we're gonna try to do this one
Well,
today.
there's so much to discuss in this film.
Oh
and so
my
much to
gosh.
quote.
It's so it is the Monty Python of American movies.
Yes. What a
Yeah.
great way to put it.
That is,
Everything,
yeah.
if you are a geek, everything in this movie is quotable. It's like the only way it could be more quotable is if you put Bruce Campbell in there and he said lines. That's the
Oh.
only way it would be more quotable.
Yeah.
By far,
That's a
one of
high
my
compliment for me,
favorite-
by the way.
One of my absolute favorite lines is, "He shot my hair. She shoots everything, and it's like, how was that? Like, it was good. Like, good. It was pretty good for Rambo. By far,
Oh,
best moment.
that was Joan
That's
Rivers that played
It was
Matrix.
Joan
Yep.
Rivers as
Oh.
Dot Matrix.
She actually only voiced it.
Oh, I couldn't picture. No, she was too old by that point to do that. I think.
Yeah, she
Well,
wasn't.
there was a younger woman, Lorraine. I'm blanking on her.
Are you
last name. She's a
spaceballing it out?
mime.
Yeah.
I've got to look her up. But she originally was slated to play the role that Mel didn't love. He didn't feel like she had the right feel vocally for it, and so he called up Joan.
So
and Joan,
he called it Darth Vader.
yeah, and
Yeah.
actually she said yes without even knowing what the film was, like
Well,
knowing
Mel
anything
Brooks
about
calls,
the
you
film.
say you just answer the phone and say yes, I will do it.
Exactly. Lorene Yarnell.
Yeah. Well,
She was
honestly, she did
Oh.
pretty well in that role for what she did.
Her
I can see
physical
it being a
set's
mime.
amazing.
Yeah, I can see her being a mime now. Now
Oh,
that
yeah.
you say that, I can totally see it.
Mhm.
Because she actually, you could probably turn her text off, and you could probably still get pretty much what's going on.
Pretty much most of the story.
Yes.
Wow, I never thought of that before, but yeah, I can actually totally see that now. That's
Yeah.
bothering me.
Well, Mel Brooks is definitely he is a story junkie.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
he is all
He
about.
loves the story.
That's the first thing he wants to nail.
Mhm.
So, if you look at Spaceball, it's like the first thing he wants you to figure out what the heck is going on, so that he can then go way off the rails.
I was
Go ahead,
just gonna
Ellie.
say I agree and I disagree. That was exactly where I was going. Was because
Mhm.
you first that opening scene takes like 10 minutes.
10
Forever.
glorious.
But to be fair, first time you watched Star Wars and you saw the Death Star go over, how long did that feel?
Oh, an
That
eternity.
felt as
It
long as the
feels
Spaceballs was.
not necessarily, because you're sitting there. If you ever saw that in movies, which I actually, like, I was really lucky. I had a theater that down the way from where I live, and they actually did it where they redid a lot of the Star Wars. And that first one the first one that ever came out, they redid those in order that way. And you're sitting there, and the entire just stadium seating that they have just starts rumbling as this goes over your head feeling. It was amazing. And let me tell you, it didn't feel as long in person. It did not feel as long in
And
person.
I know I'm
It's
being
awesome.
roasted online right now. I said Death Star. I meant Imperial Cruiser. I apologize, space nerds.
No, that's not a Death Star. This is a Death
That's a Death
Star.
Star. That's a
This
Death
is
Star.
yes, with my
It's a
little
beautiful looking Death
That is
Star.
really
my
cool.
little TIE fighter. Yeah, it's
So let's talk kind of I think the kind of the most important thing we can talk about is, and I think it is two separate movies. It is the satire of Star Wars and all things Star Trek and everything else. And then it is
Yes.
its own movie as well. And I think you can very definitively separate the two.
Yes.
So let's
Uh,
talk the satire side first, I think. Or you do not
I
do
want you. I know. I want you to go further into that because I think I get where you're going with it, but I'm
Yeah.
not entirely
Well,
sure if I get where you're going with
okay.
it.
So with what I'm saying as
Fair.
far as the satire side goes, you can watch this movie and never have watched Star Wars and 100% get it and get the story and get everything else, not miss one joke. Therefore, I don't know if I mean, it is satire, it is a direct copy, but is it a satire? Because it is its own very distinct universe.
Well, Mel Brooks, I mean, the guy said his quote straight up says, "Well, Spaceballs is a weird combination because it's a simple, sweet little fairy tale, and it's crazy and out there and making fun of and taking apart sci-fi, Star Wars and Star Trek."
Yeah.
Like he meant to do it in every way possible. So the satire part was there as
Yeah,
well
no,
as
and I'm not saying it wasn't there. It was definitely a direct copy, but at the same time, it's very much its own thing.
yeah,
No.
it
It
was.
stands on its own merit.
Which
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I mean, you watch any of those other satires, they don't. You watch, all the
Mhm.
new scary movie and not another teen movie and everything that ends in movie. None of them stand on their own.
Right. Right.
Spaceballs
True.
absolutely stands on its own
Yeah.
It
as
could
its own work.
if you didn't have those other ones being as popular as they did, and you watched this movie not knowing that it was supposed to be a satire about that, you would love the movie just on its own because of the fact that it has a great storyline. It has, feel good moments. It has the crazy weird moments where you're like, oh my gosh, what's happening now? What are they gonna get her? Are they gonna be safe? And you're hoping the whole way through that the story is going to work out, knowing secretly that it is, but you're enjoying the movie. You're having a good moment. Like you're in that feel good moment the entire time.
And that
Well,
to
and
me, though, that one sec for you, that to me is
absolutely.
the very definition of why we watch movies. Why we watch wrestling, why we watch anything. Yes, we know it's fake. We know it's a story. We know we're going to get there at the end. Sitting down and catching that journey, which, as I say, Mel Brooks does so well, especially in this movie.
Way too well.
You are sitting there and you are just in that journey. I mean, you are completely suspend reality. I mean, and you hear the jokes with the merchandising and all that, and you get it, and you're like, yeah, stupid Hollywood people, they're making money, jerks. But you're just sitting there and you're out of your own mind enjoying the journey. And that to me is
Baseball is the
something that
greatest
we don't
paper.
get anymore. And I found sounds so old, get off my lawn.
Well, I think part of it is,
Baseball
I
is the
mean, they
greatest
had an
paper.
exceptional
Baseball.
cast and they
Oh
had
my
an
gosh.
exceptional crew. I mean,
Yeah.
there were there's over 20 Academy Awards between that cast and crew in that film. They had full support of the studio with a great budget. Um, uh, Over 4 million in special effects. which
Really?
translate. Yeah. Oh
Oh,
yeah.
That's what it translates to, or that's what it was?
No, that's what it was.
Oh wow, that's
what
like
it
what, 50
Wow.
million now?
Yeah.
And they had ILM doing Industrial Light and Magic doing
They did?
their special effects, and they actually, not everybody knows this, they actually used one shot that was shot for one of the Star Wars trilogy. I'm forgetting
Really?
which one.
Do you know what shot it was?
It's the shot of the pod jettisoning out.
Yep.
Yep,
Really?
the escape pod jettisoning out. That was actually originally shot. Do you remember, Skeeter, which
It was
was it New
it was the
Hope?
first one when the droids.
First.
Yeah, and it was New Hope when the droids get in the pod,
Yeah.
Right.
escape the Imperial cruiser,
Yeah.
and get shot to Tatooine.
Wow. And that's what they built the whole movie off of. It's right there.
Yep. I mean,
Yeah.
so that's the level of commitment they had to honoring, the space genre. It's like, if you're gonna do it, go big or go home.
Well, and to
Yeah.
get Lucas's stamp of approval, I'm going to make fun of what you do, what you love, and what's made you your money. I'm going to make fun of that. I'm going to just crap all over it. Okay, here you go.
Yep.
Yeah,
That's-
the Schwartz
ILM
battle.
was made. Yeah, right?
Oh,
ILM was made by George Lucas.
yeah.
Yeah.
ILM would not be where it is if George Lucas hadn't
It
done
wouldn't
Star
exist.
Wars. If he had, yeah. So hearing that they were the ones that, that's great. That's awesome. That is
Yeah.
awesome.
Side note: I grew up in Marin County.
Oh, have you ever been there?
No, but it was one of those things where it's like, you'd be hanging out with a friend and they'd be like, they would say something like, "Oh, my dad had to go to Skywalker Ranch to make a delivery or to, fix a broken pipe or something." So it was like, ooh, we're related by, 60 degrees, maybe not, 6 degrees, but
250. Yeah, and it's
yeah,
something like that.
256
You're
degrees of
closer.
separation, but it was
You're
still super fun.
closer.
Yes.
Something like that. I don't
Something
know.
like
It's
that.
it's a number of some sort, and Kevin Bacon's involved in some way or the other, I guess.
He's always
Totally.
involved.
He's always involved.
Always.
Don't we
Always.
wish? Don't we wish? Kevin Bacon, if you ever want to appear on the show, I would like to have 1 degree of separation. I'm just saying that would be awesome. Well, actually, I think it'd be 2 degrees. It'd be Zoom.
We'll
That
make
sounded
sure
so
they put
creepy when I said that.
plexiglass.
It sounded cooler in my head, and then I said it. I'm like, that sounds really kind of
I know, which is why
Mel Brooksy. It just doesn't sound right.
Dub, some things should just stay in your head. No.
No, they should come out
I'm
so that we
kidding, I'm
can judge
kidding.
you.
Yeah.
It's
Here
a
we go
sport.
again. This is how we go.
Hey,
My Schwartz
I
definitely
said
does
I
not
was
feel as big as
kidding.
yours right now. It's great.
No, my Schwartz is definitely bigger than yours.
Satomi Schwartz is bigger than everybody.
Oh, okay, let's talk about the Schwartz scene. Okay, with the rings
We have
and
to.
Rick Moranis being absolutely
Perfection.
perfection.
He was-
And by the way,
Oh.
if you are the guy that hit Rick Moranis in New York and you're listening to the show, turn the show off. You are not allowed to listen to us again because you suck. Anyway. Oh,
or
Christ.
you're gonna have to make some sort of really big gesture of atonement.
I don't think you can atone for hitting Rick Moranis
I
for
don't
no
know if
reason.
you can. I don't know if you can.
Okay, but I think it's his best probably line that I can think of out of any of his movies, which is "I'm your father's cousins, sisters, brothers, uncles, aunts, former roommate." What does that make us?
What does that make us?
Absolutely
Absolutely
nothing.
nothing. Which is
Actually,
what you are
way-
about to become.
The way he delivered that line, I mean, I don't know what it is, but that is like the line that sticks with me more than any other line in this movie, or
See,
any Rick Moranis
mine is
line. To be
another
honest.
Rick Moranis line, which is Lone Star, at last we meet for the first time, for the last time. For the...
Is it? Maybe
And
it's because it's early in the morning, but is it bad that my favorite line is, "Why is this thing gurgling? I'm trying to check the radar." It's like, oh, that's because that's Mr. Coffee, sir. I know that. I always have coffee.
I'm coffee
before
when
I
I'm
go to
when I'm
bed.
watching
You know that.
X-ray. So
Love
cool.
that.
But the Schwartz scene, going back to the Schwartz scene, I'm going to try to keep us on the rails here a
Oh,
little bit. Trying.
Trying.
There's so much to love about this
There
movie.
is so much. It's hard. We've been
Yogurt.
jammed. We've been
Yogurt.
jammed.
I
Okay,
hate
okay.
yogurt.
Go back. Ah, she doesn't look Jewish. No, I need to stop. Okay. Schwartz scene. I remember that we all, growing up, we would reenact the Schwartz scene and make it as crude and junior high boy as possible. We all know where we went with this because that's where Mel Brooks went with it. But that scene was so hilarious because on the surface, it was completely and totally family friendly, innocent. If you go down just like half an inch, it was horrible. It was probably one of the dirtiest things he's put into his movies, I think.
I think
And
so.
spectacular. But it kept that sort of adolescent, like it never went into that adult nasty
Mhm.
because everything he does has a little bit of, please, let's
It
face
has
it,
to be.
he's like a 13-year-old.
He's a
You know what
child,
I mean?
and I love him for it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he's a child with hormones, but a child nonetheless. Now, did you and Skeeter ever reenact those?
Oh,
Those
absolutely.
All the time.
do you have a Skeeter? Do you have a favorite Schwartz reenactment story? Oh, that's
Did we break anything in Mom's house? I'm sure we did.
Yeah, and many other things. No, I think trying to find glow in the dark things that could be used for a Schwartz battle was probably the funnest part because they didn't have things.
Yeah,
other than-
we'd steal a ring out of my parents' jewelry box. This is my Schwartz. Yeah. It's sad that I remember this. Oh my gosh. I forgot what an impact this movie made, honestly, as being a kid. And I'm like thinking about it, I'm like, and with Skeeter on it actually really helps. I'm like, wow, I remember reenacting all this stuff. And it was this movie, honestly, and this is probably heresy to some of the people that'll be watching this. I can say this movie at the time was more important to me and probably our group of friends than Star Wars was.
wow.
I think I can honestly say that. I mean, now I can say Star Wars is more important, but at the time, I would say that definitely Spaceballs was the more important movie to us. That shaped us more than Star Wars would have. Just
That's fair.
like I said,
That's
because
fair.
it was its own movie.
It was. It was his own satire. It was his own movie. It was his own everything. Everything. Every single aspect of it was genuine to itself. And
I think
it's. Go ahead.
Good
I
to you.
think more because it hits it's that comedy level. It's funny. It doesn't have all the undertones of like what Star Wars was and who
The
was
soap opera.
father and sister and brother and cousin. No, this was all fun. It was a laugh a minute every part of it. Like I
Mhm.
think that's what it was for us. Like you didn't have to define anything. You just watched it and laughed your face off.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
didn't have to think hard. Yeah.
I don't think there was a single scene that you don't laugh.
No.
I
And-
can't think of one that is even like, that every movie has their lulls. I don't think this one had any.
Mm.
It's also that
May-
it's a very difficult kind of humor to do, quite frankly. A lot of people do it, but not a
Not-
lot of
not
people do
well.
it successfully.
Not
Yeah.
well.
Exactly.
Yes.
Because, there is such a thing as just too dumb. It's got to have some smarts in it. And I
Mhm.
think that's why I know that Mel Brooks Easter egg, Mel Brooks and his writing partners, was it Thomas Meehan and
I don't know on this one. I know most
uh,
of them because they did a lot with Richard Pryor and all that, but none of those guys.
yeah, no,
were on
these
this one.
these were not
Not this one.
the actors, but they Easter egged the snot out of it with really smart jokes that
Mhm.
would go right over the heads of all the young kids, and all the adults would just be dying.
And then the young kids will watch it again when they grow up because this movie is so multi-generational because, as I say, a kid can watch it and laugh their butt off. The adults are watching and laughing their butt off for the same and different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that you hit those milestone ages. You hit, I think probably 10 years old is where you kind of start to get it. 13 is one of those milestones. Okay, this is funny for a different reason now. 16, funny for a different reason. Then you hit kind of the semi-adult. 20 years old, 21. Oh my gosh, this was brilliant. And it's just every milestone, this movie hits something with those milestone ages.
Dude, I got to tell you, you
Mhm.
just brought me back though to when I would watch films with, with adults,
Mhm.
and I would laugh because they were laughing, and I just totally wouldn't get the joke at all.
Yep.
Oh yeah. Not on this one, I bet.
Not on this one.
Because as like you were saying, he did write jokes for every age group at the same time, and that is a level of genius that we don't see. Ellie, you had something?
I was just gonna kind of bring us to a different topic.
Okay.
The time that it came out, John Candy, who happened to have been one of my favorite actors, like I've watched almost every single one of his movies, and
Don't
he
watch his
was
last one.
so popular. I didn't. I said almost. I said almost for a reason. But he was so popular during that time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like if you think about it, like how many movies did he do that came out? And it's so funny to think about how perfect he was for that part.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm half dog, like half man, half dog. I'm my own
I'm
best
barf.
friend.
Yeah.
He could. Honestly, I could not have pictured anybody else for the roles in this film. Like every single one of them was
Yeah.
perfect.
Yep.
And
And
it, you just can't. You can't pick a better cast. You really can't.
Well, let's hit some of this, but first I got to tell a John Candy story.
Oh.
I remember Skeeter was one that told me he died, and we both cried
Oh.
together when we found out.
Oh.
Because he was so important to us because he was just so. I mean, Chris Farley was another big one, but he was like the first big man comic that everybody got. He was everybody's best friend because he was just that accessible, kind of scary guy, but awesome at the same time. And he really made an impact. I don't know if you remember that when that happened, Skeeter. I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to choke you up.
I got well, it kind of hits me at a different level because when I was a kid in high school, I got to go to Oregon and I met John Candy on his ranch
Really?
in Oregon with some friends
Wow.
before he passed away. And everything that he is on screen is everything that he is normal. Like I'm a huge John Candy fan, Uncle Buck, all the way
Buck's
through.
great.
But Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, like that's just my whole collection over by my TV, and just who he is as an actor is who he was as a person, like every bit of it. And you just didn't get this different
Yeah.
person, and it was phenomenal. And I'll never forget, like when he passed away, like it was, I mean, it was almost like I remember when John Belushi died
Yeah.
for my dad. I mean, watching my dad just be crushed. That happened, and then when we lost Farley, of course, that was another one. But yeah, John Candy was real.
Yeah, he really was.
I keep sitting here thinking, like, do they sequel it or reboot it?
If the only
How
person
can you mess with perfection?
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
You can't.
However, I would say that the only person I think of that could have handled that barf role would have been another guy that passed, which would be Chris Farley, who would have brought something different to the role altogether.
Although, you know who
Earnestness
would
he
be,
brought, wow.
you know who I think could have a lot of fun with directing something like that would be Jordan Peele.
Maybe.
I just think
all this stuff is so dark anymore. It's like
it is dark now, but that we know that he's got the capacity for like on the floor laughing comedy.
I watch Keanu, and it kind of steers me away from him ever doing comedy again.
Did you ever watch Key and Peele?
Oh, I think he was great, but I think that was kind of the ensemble. I don't know if that was just.
You think
just
that was
him.
more like you think,
I think
that
that's
was
the
a combination
ensemble.
of Key
Yeah.
and
I think it's the team
together.
that works on that.
Okay.
It's sort of like going back to the people in this movie. Everybody was such an integral part of that recipe that made it work so well. I mean,
and apparently there was a lot of permission on set for improv and
well, Mel Brooks, you have to, don't you?
Yeah, but I mean, it's one of those
to.
things where not every director will just let you do take after take after take,
or
will
writer
want you
especially,
to, or writer. Yeah, yes.
Yeah,
And
like
he was
Kevin Smith
definitely
is
a believer
infamous
that-
for not liking people. This is my work, and it's perfect.
Yeah.
to him.
Yep.
I think I would look at Mel Brooks' set as like a giant stage, and you have creative freedom as long as it fits what we're doing. Like
as long as you're telling
go
the
with
story.
Yep, like go with
Yeah.
it.
And
I love Colonel Sanders and everything that they set up. Like the characters in the ship too. When you're doing this, the guy that did the sound effects.
Michael Winslow.
You
Yeah.
could, you
The
know
blips,
for
the
a
bleeps,
fact.
the
You know for a
I just
fact
threw you
that
off.
he had such creative freedom with that. The bleeps, the creeps, and the sweeps. The what, and the what? The bleeps.
I don't even pretend to do those.
No, I don't know anybody that can get close to that for some
But-
reason. But that was the best moment, and you know it was like just improv.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know it. He added his own sound effects. There's no way they were like, hey, just insert a sound effect here. No.
Well, Michael Winslow's one of those guys that you have to write the part for.
Yeah.
You can't audition for a Michael Winslow role. They call you because they want you to
Right.
do whatever it is that he does.
Right.
And and that is another really form of brilliance, is knowing what you have, especially at that time, because he was huge at the time. Let's put him in a bit part right there. Okay, and it worked.
Yeah.
And I mean, probably not his most memorable. I mean, Police Academy, you're never going to top that. But it's
But
still
fun.
it was a fun cameo that, I mean, it didn't weigh down the story, and it wasn't like, this is cameo because he's popular right now, and we see that a lot in movies, like,
Yeah.
wow, this person showed up, yay, and it doesn't do anything for the story, and he did.
Yeah.
So
Well, let's
just
talk about
admit it.
not weighing down the movie. It was another one of those really lean movies where all the jokes that were in there absolutely had their place there. It doesn't lull,
Yeah.
especially
No,
for a
it
film
does
like
not.
that, where usually you look at a lot of the more recent films that I love and I enjoy, but they still have that meow kind of moment
Mhm.
about two.
Well, we had
of the
this
way
discussion
through.
when we were talking musicals. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's any project that's going to be longer than like 90 minutes is going to have that.
A
Yeah.
lull. Yep.
And Spaceballs doesn't let up.
Spaceballs was a punk song. It's full force, it comes at you, and then we're done.
Yep.
And then done. We're
That's
in, we're
a
out.
great
Boom.
description.
I mean,
That is also
it
a great
punk rock.
description.
So
I'm looking at
See, it's a musical.
IMDb right now, and look at, I mean, the cast of this thing is
Oh, it's
insane.
phenomenal.
Oh, it's crazy.
Mel Brooks in a dual role, challenging dual role.
Apparently, Mel Brooks told Dick Van Patten that he's like, you're not a fat guy, but you have a fat guy's face. So can you come and play
A perfectly cast role.
I mean,
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, he was silly and doofus like, but he definitely, you could tell he cared about his daughter the whole time.
and the Mercedes.
And the Mercedes and the nose.
Mercedes.
I've already bought her a
Possibly
nose.
get it
She already
back.
had her nose. We're gonna give her back her old nose.
No.
What's the code?
Where did you
1,
find that?
2, 3, 4, 5.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's something
What?
an idiot would have on his luggage.
Remind me to
wait
change
a
my
minute.
luggage. Oh, we're just gonna quote this for the rest of the time now. I see how this
Yeah.
movie
We're
works.
just gonna reenact the whole movie.
I'm okay with that.
And of course, I one of my favorite scenes is a nothing scene story wise, but the diner with John Hurt.
Oh, how do we forget about that?
Hello, my baby.
Hey, hello, my
darling.
darling.
Hello, my darling. Not again.
What makes you think that would be a good idea going into this spoof of a movie? And it was.
Oh, genius!
One of my
remains.
And that's what
skid
takes it
marks
out
in
of just being a
space.
Star. It takes it out of just being a Star Wars thing, and it really opens up to, okay, this isn't a Star Wars thing. It's a sci-fi thing. Okay, I get that now, and that's something
I
that
just want to know.
Get. Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. I was gonna say I just want to know how you make skid marks in space. I'm still trying to figure that one out. Like,
Okay, so when we all watched this, we were like 10 or 11, I think, when me and Skeeter watched this, maybe 12, somewhere in there. We were pretty young. What about you two? How old were you guys when you watched this?
A woman never tells.
No, I was.
So you don't want anybody figuring out your age. I gotcha. So you were, yeah, okay. I'm doing the math in my head. Okay, I understand.
I was a little bit older than you. Let's just say.
Okay, fair enough. So did it hit with you?
My dad let me watch it when I was 10 or 11.
Did your? I know you're quite a bit younger than the rest of the panel, so yeah, you watched it You probably watched on DVD at that. Not even the VHS. You watched on DVD. We watched on VHS, baby. Yeah.
In a separate room from his parents.
Well, I think it was really late when we watched it for the first time because it seemed like this movie's really dirty and we're getting away with something for watching this.
There were lots of bad words in there.
There actually was.
No,
There aren't.
It's not.
That, I
It's
mean,
not
but back
family
then,
friendly. There's like I think we were saying what
It's-
3 different things that they'd have to cut.
yeah, exactly. It's like it's almost family friendly. It's family friendly light.
Yeah.
Yeah.
my dad, so just to make you guys laugh, my dad let me watch Blazing Saddles and then
Oh,
realized that I have a
that
good
says
sense
a
of
lot.
humor and then let me watch Spaceballs.
Nice.
Not for any reason other than Blazing Saddles was on TV one day and he was like, this is gonna have some bad words and some funny jokes, but it's also gonna have some very, very
Mhm.
wishy-washy jokes that you need to, you can't say these types of things. And I kind of looked at him like, yeah, I know, you're good. And we're watching it and I was cracking up. I was cracking up so hard. It was the funniest thing I'd ever seen. And my dad's like, you like this? And I was like, yeah, Mel Brooks is great. He looks at me and he's like, what else do you know that he does? And I said, well, every time he's been in a movie, I said that we've watched, I said, we love him. And he goes, well, what else have we watched? I said, well, we watched The Producers. I said, we watched, what was that movie, Young Frankenstein? And I remembered doing that. I remember
Frankenstein.
going, Frankenstein, sir. It's
Frankenstein.
Frankenstein.
Yes.
Steam.
Frau Blucher.
I just watched that actually like last week. So yeah, that's a
Thank
hit.
you, Ellie.
I got you, Satomi.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it, but I got you.
So, well, actually, that brings up an interesting point. You don't know your kids. You don't know who your kids really are until you sit down and watch like Spaceballs with them.
Yeah.
I know my kids so much better after watching a movie like Spaceballs or Blazing Saddles with my kids, and that's when I feel like you know your kids, but you know them in a different way after you watch these movies with them. You see what they laugh at, and and you can really see how smart they are because honestly, humor is a sign of intelligence. You know how
true.
smart your kid is after you see how hard they laugh at some of these things, and if they laugh at the right places, if that makes sense.
There you have
Yeah.
it, ladies and gentlemen. Parenting advice from iHeart Geek Radio.
Let's bring the levity up in here.
It's like a litmus test. If they don't laugh at enough of it, you're like, okay, so we're gonna look at some foster care options.
Oh wow, that went dark fast. Oh, I'm turning so red today. Laughter. So much laughter today.
There were all
Flames.
kinds of
Flames. Oh wow, I just went Clue. Okay, this is nice. Oh, this is a fun episode. Okay, so let's talk yogurt and being, the direct he was adult Baby Yoda.
I just realized he had a baby yogurt.
He did. Oh my god.
Did. Maybe Schwartz be with you.
No, it wasn't with you, it was with ya.
Oh, with ya.
Wow. And he set up that whole
Me.
merchandising thing.
Oh,
Which honestly, I mean, going back that we've kind of touched on that a little bit. That was what made in that era, what made the movie was not how much money you made in the theater. It was how much you made in merchandising. Because before George Lucas, nobody cared about merchandising. He goes, you know what? I will do this movie for free. I just want the merchandising rights. Well, that ain't worth anything. Okay, let me cash my $1 trillion check.
And actually, that was the one stipulation from George Lucas.
Yeah, that he wanted the merchandising.
He said, well, no, he said you can't do any merchandising.
Oh,
for
really?
Spaceballs.
I remember hearing that.
That's why there was the running joke.
Yeah.
That's why that ended up in there in the first place. And if you look, whoever the prop master was, I mean, most of that stuff is actual merch that's just been adjusted. There's a Transformers lunchbox or something.
There was a Transformers lunchbox in there.
Yep.
Easiest way to get it done.
The best moment in that merchandising thing is how he goes through everything. And it's Spaceballs the toilet paper, Spaceballs the placemat, Spaceballs the flamethrower, and he plays, and then he goes, the kids will love this one.
I didn't know if it was Kiss or if it's Star Wars. It was one of the two that all that merchandising came from. Because Kiss won't merchandise anything. And so would Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Yes, they would. If they could.
I'm still waiting for Spaceballs to search for more money.
Okay, let's be fair. We kind of hit on that before. And I
Mhm.
don't. We all agree we don't want to see a reboot. I want to see Spaceballs, the sequel, the next generation, and everybody's different except for Mel Brooks being yogurt. Everybody is different. I don't want Bill
Ye-
Pullman. I want Barf's son. I want Lone Star's daughter. I want, so on and so forth. I want to see like the next generation on it, and I think that's the only way that it could be accepted.
Lone,
We
Lone
don't.
Star and Vespa's daughter. That'd be interesting.
Yeah, and and then you have
Does she keep the Winnebago or the Mercedes?
the Mercedes.
The
She hasn't. She'd
Winnebago.
have enough of her mom in her that she
No,
would want.
she would have a tripped out Mercedes SUV Winnebago.
There you go.
I am in. But I think that would be the acceptable way to do because without John Candy, I don't want to see this cast go on. I want to see the next
maybe
generation,
reference
an homage to an homage, if you will.
Or
I was gonna say maybe have like them in it as the parents, have them for a
Yes.
second, like bye, have a good night, kind of a thing. But
well, they have to do like a Han Solo moment and have one of their kids kill Bill Pullman.
Oh, absolutely. He's still around. He'd still do it. He's not working
Heck
much.
yeah, he's got a great sense of humor.
You know what would get me if like of all the things that happened, I was so sad that he died in that one because it was like, okay, well, you know what? At least we still have the rest of the cast. And the next year we lost her, and then the next year it was like, really? I no, I'm done.
Yeah.
I was like, man, which parent? You had to kill him off before you really?
Yeah.
No, that made me
Yeah,
sad.
it was very sad.
Yeah.
It was very distressing.
Also, how are you gonna do that with the shorts? Are you just gonna have the ring and just like fist bump him, but too hard?
It's
I
sort
don't.
of like an Excalibur thing where
I think they'd have to I think they'd have to change that because the Schwartz the ring was the symbol, but it wasn't what it was, and
right.
I thought that was honestly the
Oh
best.
yeah, that's right. He got it out of a Cracker Jack box.
Cracker Jack box.
Yep.
I thought it was the best definition of going back to Star Wars. It made me understand the Force more than Star Wars made me understand what the Force was. I'm like, oh, so it's what's around. It's not the lightsaber. It's what's around you, which I think is an interesting take on it, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very philosophical. Now, the
Yeah, when he
only thing
loses
about
it.
doing a Spaceballs 2 is I don't know if we have the sense of humor for it right now.
Then that's the problem, and I think that it would have to be directed by Mel Brooks. And true story, I just heard this one. This is funny. Mel Brooks's grandson. You guys are probably familiar with Max Brooks, who's a fantastic writer and all that. But his grandson was in school, and he wrote a play that was Mel Brooksian, and they wanted to kick him out. Mel Brooks himself drove down to the school and read them the riot act. How are you not having a sense of humor? The boy is Jewish. He can make any Jew joke he wants, blah, blah. And he's just flipping out on these people. They let him back in like, we can't say anything.
Yeah.
I think the world needs to have Mel Brooks. You know what? Let's make a joke again.
I think honestly, I think because of the fact that we're all in this crazy moment, I think humor is exactly what we need.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it sounds weird, but just because, quarantine, COVID, the killer hornets or whatever the hell they are, like everything that's been happening in 2020, we need something to laugh at.
Yeah.
We do. We need something to get our minds off of 2020.
And let's stop having the 2020 attitude that let's destroy anybody who makes a joke. It's a joke.
I think it's because we're like we were talking about at the very beginning, is we're sort of there's a shift in consciousness which makes what used to be funny not funny.
Mm-hmm.
And
that
is something that does need to complete.
I want to disagree with you though. I think it's still funny. I think that we've been programmed not to laugh.
I would disagree with you.
Okay.
I would disagree.
That's fair.
I'm not. That's not across the board. I think there's stuff I mean, please, I make fun of my heritage all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I was watching TV about a week ago, and an old Judy Garland film came on, and everybody was laughing at the nanny coming out with her wrap and her
we got where you're going with that.
Yep. And it's like that's not funny anymore. There
is a line.
There is a line, and we're redrawing it right now. And I think what's happening is it's a pendulum swing.
Yeah.
I think
And
we're
well,
just
then
at
hopefully it goes the other way again,
yeah,
but
and it
not too
will.
far because I like, for instance, you know, I am all for making fun of things without making fun of people.
Oh, yeah.
For
That's a great way to
instance,
put it. Yeah.
you know, anything that's Mel Brooks, I will laugh at because it is all funny.
Yep.
However, I mean, you take like Breakfast at Tiffany's, you take the Mickey Rooney character, and that wasn't making fun of a situation. I was making fun of people.
Yeah.
If
That's
that
a
makes
great
does
way
that
to
make
put it.
sense?
That makes perfect sense.
And I think that's where we need if we're gonna redraw lines. I think that's where the line. I mean,
Yeah.
and learn to laugh at yourself, but there was nothing that was funny to
Yeah.
the Asian heritage when you saw Mickey Rooney doing what he was doing.
Yeah.
It was
It was hurtful.
it was mean.
It was mean.
You know,
Yes.
And I think there's
There's a
definitely
difference.
but you know, I mean they can drop the N-word 100 times in Blazing Saddles and it was never mean.
It was
It was
never mean.
it was meant to
No.
show ignorance, but it was never mean.
And it
but
supported the story.
it's so commonplace. Things that are commonplace then are not commonplace anymore. Things that
Yeah.
were normal then are not normal now.
And that shifts almost
People,
every generation.
you didn't date somebody that wasn't in the same race. You didn't do anything that was out of place. You didn't say the wrong things. Everybody had their hair done and their tights.
Yeah.
Nowadays, we walk around with no makeup, jeans, and a t-shirt. It doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, bi, if you're trans, if you're dating a guy, if you're dating a girl. Nobody cares. Doesn't matter what color you
In
are.
some
Like
communities.
in some communities, but
So
it's changed so
Yeah.
drastically that
Yes.
the
Yes.
humor back then has translated to a different humor now. And so,
Well,
like moments,
yeah.
that movie, you can watch it and enjoy it
Hmm.
now, or you can watch it and enjoy it then. Everybody has a fun story.
Well, let's hit this last thing on this subject, and then we'll kind of move on a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not fair to like watch a Mel Brooks movie and to watch it with the eyes of your morality now. You do have to
I
you were
agree.
saying, you do have to watch it with that in mind. And if you can't watch it, you know, you are, you know, I mean, you know, whether or not you like it or not, Archie, you can watch Archie Bunker and now that would be considered offensive, even though it was making a commentary on that.
Hmm.
You know, you've got to kind of keep your eyes open and relax a little bit. And like Mel Brooks was saying, learn to laugh. If we can laugh at ourselves and at each other, or with ourselves and with each other, I think that we're in a much better place than
Yeah.
we were at before.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah. So, okay. Let's see. Who did we miss anybody with, you know, George Weiner as Colonel Sanders was brilliant, I thought.
Gee. Like,
Fantastic.
He was I mean, I honestly I could see like a Jeffrey Tambor playing him. He's the only other person I could see playing him
they
because
look so much
they're
alike.
very
Yeah.
similar
Yeah.
as actors. But he was a very fun character. And honestly, he took a nothing part. If you look, that's a nothing part, and he made it into a memorable part.
He
I
did.
don't know if that's Mel Brooks directing or if that's George Weiner being just brilliant.
You know, I did see an interview where they were talking about the work that Rick Moranis did and he together, how much of that came from Rick being the one like, let's try it this way, let's try it this way, let's do
Yeah.
another one, and being the one to give permission. Because
Hmm.
that's such a thing, you know, as an actor, is like just knowing that you have permission to play.
Yeah.
And so, you know, Rick apparently sort of instigated all that play and it just sort of expanded
I
from
think
there.
that Moranis should have been a director.
Yes, and I think he still has. I think he should now. I think
Yeah,
he
I think he should.
still
I
has
think him
time. Yeah.
and Steve Martin should get together and be just a, you know,
They'd be dynamic
Oh,
like
duo right
the
there.
greatest directing team in history.
Well, you know what's
I
been
don't
interesting is
think we could
watching.
handle that.
Well, Steve Martin's bent has actually gone very more into the dramatic and more into the, you know,
and I think
that
Moranis
artier
could kind of
field.
pull him back.
Yeah.
Let's be honest, because I
Yeah.
mean Moranis has such a family friendly
Yeah.
sensibility to him that can make things hilarious, even if it's dirty, and it doesn't feel that way. And he never played off of the "I'm so dumb that I'm saying this and it's dirty, but it sounds innocent because I'm stupid." He never
Yeah,
played that.
exactly.
It's
It's
its own art
sincere.
form how he did it.
Yes.
You know, I
I
mean,
think
even
that's why the movie still works now.
Mhm.
Just touching on the humor thing again, is because of what was behind all the jokes. Everything was just so straightforward and so sincere.
Yeah.
Yep.
So there was no nasty ulterior motive.
Even if you're making fun of, each other, you're making fun of yourselves. Like I still loved it. Was like, who I sit across, or I sit upper nose, not across it, or something like that. It was like,
Oh yeah.
who made this man a gunner? And it was like, I did. He's my cousin.
They all have the
Like, oh my
cross-eyed.
God.
Yeah,
How
that was
many-
fantastic.
How many of these people have we got on this ship?
All of them.
Everybody.
I love how you're
Yo.
editing that. That is my favorite, by the way.
I'm
Yes.
trying so hard not to say words that should not be said.
Buttholes. Are they
I'm
all
impressed.
buttholes? I think we can say it
How
like
many
that.
buttholes we got on this ship? I knew it. I'm surrounded by
My
buttholes.
buttholes. And then the final joke that I want to hit on this before I ask our final question that I always ask on these movie episodes, but that last scene with when they actually meld in, they go from sci-fi and then they move it into fantasy, and they have the Planet of the Apes.
That's still sci-fi.
Oh,
That's still
that's still
sci-fi.
technically. Well, okay, think about it. Think about it.
It is.
They
okay.
had
Okay,
so many different
from
references
space
to it.
drama to how's that from space soap opera, which everything else was, to Planet of the Apes.
To
Fair
space
enough.
drama. Sure, we'll
I-
give you that.
I just want to win. Let me have a win, okay?
I just gave it to you.
It's Blythe's birthday. Let me have a win.
Happy birthday, Blythe. We did it just for
Happy
you.
We miss you, bud.
birthday.
Okay, yeah.
Dub,
Sorry.
just
Anyway.
for you. I want to tell you something.
What's that?
You're right.
I'm touched. Inappropriately, but I'm touched.
In the head.
Yeah.
Okay.
A little bit. Okay, so that scene, though, I thought I was never a Planet of the Apes fan, ever.
Oh, really?
I hated it, but when I was a
Aw.
kid, I watched Spaceballs, and I went back and I watched Planet of the Apes, and I don't have like the love that a lot of people have for it, but I definitely like them now since I saw it on Spaceballs. The new movies suck, but the originals
Yeah.
were a lot of fun.
Yeah, they
And
are.
honestly, when you can look
Yeah.
at stuff as Spaceballs said, okay, it's not a serious thing, just have fun with it. I get it now. And then I could go back and watch, oh, this is just fun. It's not commentary, and it doesn't have to be something more than it is. It's just fun. And Spaceballs had if that movie said it was okay to laugh at, it was okay to laugh at. It's like, I can see the humor in it now a lot more.
Yeah.
And that's its own art form. Go ahead, Ellie.
I love the implication too that apparently Spaceballs, they are just so well known that the Planet of the Apes is like, is that? Oh, they're Spaceballs. Well, there goes the planet.
Oh,
Like
that line
Yes.
was
knew.
so good.
They already knew these guys were. Gosh, man, there goes.
Was that
Like,
was that the
so
originals?
well known.
It was Michael York.
It was
That
Michael York in there?
Wow. He's the one that played the speaking part for
Yeah.
that ape, which is from Planet of the Apes.
Genius. I had no idea he did
I didn't
that.
either. I'm like
was
looking at all the
Logan,
IMDb
right?
stuff now.
Yes.
Logan.
great.
Oh.
Yeah.
Great.
And Dom DeLuise was in it. I mean,
Oh,
everybody.
as Pizza the Hut. Did you know they
Pizza the
actually
Hut.
had real pizza on that guy?
Oh, that
And they
was
wait,
kept
so
having to have
disgusting.
heaters on him to keep
Yep,
the
they had
cheese
heaters
melted.
so that it could melt.
Ugh.
He did not want pizza for like a couple months after that.
I'm sure. Well, I
Oh.
heard it was actually played by two people, because the first guy, like he started the whole thing started smoking at one point, and he was like, "No, I'm not getting back in that thing."
Yep.
Oh, and I have to say this. I don't know if you guys remember the ding, 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 ding,
Ding, ding,
ding,
ding,
ding, ding, ding, ding, ding.
ding,
One of those guys
ding.
was Tony Cox. I don't know if you guys know who Tony Cox is. He was in Bad Santa. He was in Me, Myself, and Irene. He's like one of the more well-known
Yes.
little people actors now. And he was he was like directly in your face in that movie.
In
and
your face.
never knew it until
One of my favorite voice actors was there, Rob Paulson. He was one of the voices for him. I never knew that, and I was like, "What the heck? This is so crazy!" Like, yeah, that was pretty cool.
yeah. So I mean, this movie has so many like Easter eggs that aren't intentional Easter eggs. You know, and
The
that's
bearded lady, the bear.
oh,
they referenced
that was
the
a
three-ring
throwaway
circus how
line.
many times?
That was a throwaway line. This cancel the 3-ring circus. Okay, what does that
Put all
have to do
animals
with
in the
anything?
zoo.
It's not any part of the story, but when everyone's flying
It's
out
when
of
everyone's
Spaceball
leaving,
1, you
come
see
back.
that 3-ring circus, everybody coming out. I'm like, wow.
That was genius.
That's brilliant to be able to a throwaway line and make it a sight gag. And it's spit take funny.
Yeah.
It is. It was great.
Well,
It was
especially
perfect.
when Mel Brooks is such an artist at the setup, at the
Mhm.
long game setup,
The very long game.
the very long game setup. He's
Mhm.
so good at that to then also be able to just get those fantastic
Yeah.
visual
But
moments.
going back, that's why I say that you don't know your kids till they watch Spaceballs. So you see where they laugh. If they get that long joke,
Mm-hmm.
my kids are a lot smarter than I thought they were. And honestly, all of my kids have very much made me proud when I've watched these movies with them.
Of
I
course.
have to ask, who else wants that Minute Maid / whatever she was, space transformer
The Mega
ship
Maid?
thing? Mega Maid,
Oh,
thank you.
If she's gonna clean my house, I want one.
Right?
and
Leave my place, that's
I love
fine.
that everybody was dead in the entire planet, and then they put the air back, and everyone's like, I'm alive again. We're back to normal. All the trees are in the same place.
That was the best part, was the trees.
Oh.
The snow comes back. Everything's perfect.
And
Snow didn't melt at all.
He was this is another thing that just kind of coming to my head now is he was able to be socially conscious with, I mean, he was basically talking an environmental message without pushing it in your face. And that, to me,
without preaching,
when I'm watching a movie, that's the only acceptable way for you to tell me your views. I don't care about your views. If you can hide it in a lot of humor and not put it in my face and rub my nose in it like my dog that just went to the bathroom.
Yep.
As long as you can do that, I will listen to what you say and I'll be a lot more open to it.
I also want a can of Perrier.
Who doesn't? Anybody tell me my butt was so big? Okay, I'm sorry.
We have to. One of my favorite moments we haven't talked about.
What's that? You look so excited. You're like, ah!
Yes. No, Lord Helmet, I didn't see you playing with your dolls.
Oh, it's because women are always attracted to men with power.
Yes.
Yes.
No. Yes.
Oh. And I mean, let's be honest. There's a lot of these scenes that are lifted from other Mel Brooks. That's kind of a direct from Blazing Saddles, when he's playing with his dolls and the exact same thing. And that, to me, that's a signature. That's a signature. And I love that.
Yep.
Okay.
The other one that I love is Darlene and Marlene, or Charlene and Marlene, and the twins.
Oh, yes.
They were the Doublemint twins, by the way.
Yep.
Were they really?
But
yeah.
I'm Marlene. I'm Charlene. Oh,
Go
and then
chew your gum. That was the throwaway joke. Because they were the Doublemint twins.
I never got that.
Now you're going to watch it again and laugh.
Thank you. Yes.
We just had a blonde moment for Satomi.
Well, I mean, I just never recognized them, even though I totally remember the commercials.
They were a lot older in that. They were a lot older in that than we probably remember them in those commercials.
Fair.
To be fair. And
They were the best.
He said the name wrong when the other one introduced herself. Charlene, I'm Marlene. So he should have said Charlene again. No, she's Marlene.
Charlene, Marlene, Marlene, Charlene.
Go chew your gum. And this is going in your head right now. This is awesome. Okay, so as we always do in these movies that we grew up with, I'm going to ask the same question I always ask. What movie or what would you rate this out of? Typical grade school grading, A+ to F. When you first watch this movie versus when you watch it now with a nostalgia factor. I'll do mine last. Let's start with Satomi. What do you grade this when you watched it, and what do you grade it now?
When I watched it, I mean, even though there's definitely a lot that appeals to the younger brain,
Mm-hmm.
I still think there were some things that went over my head, and B, I didn't get the style of humor quite as much. So I think it was like a B+ for me when I first watched it.
That's fair.
But now it's like an A++. I watch it and I just like the minute it starts with the
If you don't scream laugh at this, I don't want to be your friend.
Yeah. I have a greater appreciation for all, John Candy and Joan Rivers.
Yeah.
So So I get so much more of it.
Fair enough. Skeeter, what do you grade it at then and now?
The first time, I would probably go B plus ish, right around in
enough.
that area, just because
You're a kid.
You're a kid. You don't understand all of the references, and you're kind of trying to figure it out. But now you watch it again, and you're watching it through this unfiltered, totally open eye. I'm A plus all day long.
Fair enough. Miss Pixie?
It's gonna sound weird, y'all, but when I
Okay.
first watched it, I loved it so much so that I actually chose that over Star Wars a lot because Star Wars felt too long to me.
Fair
I
enough.
didn't want to watch all the episodes.
As a
Like I
kid, I
love the
totally get
story,
that.
but I didn't want to watch all the episodes. I'd rather watch the one-time movie. So I would actually say A minus at most. That's the lowest I would go.
Mm-hmm.
To nowadays, I still watch it almost every year. I have to watch it at least twice a year in order to have my complete year. And I was still A plus plus if I could do it. I mean, if I can
Yeah.
go higher than A plus plus, I would. If I could make E higher than A, I would.
That's awesome.
E for excellent.
Outstanding.
But no, I love it.
I would rate when I first watched it, I would rate it at let's see, I'm gonna rate it at a Pizza the Hut. And now when I
Not
watch
Pizza to
it,
go.
no, it's Pizza the Hut. And now when I watch it, I will rate it as a barf. So I think that we are unanimous in our A plus plus at the end.
Mhm.
Oh, this was a fun show, guys. Thank you for doing it. Thank you for
So
going down
great.
this memory lane with me. I appreciate
Right?
it.
Wonderful.
Great walk. I
Thanks
need
for
it.
letting
Okay,
us.
real quick, we're going to talk about our favorite charity. Satomi, you want to hit that for us?
Broadway Hearts. We were started by fellow Broadway performers bringing music and joy to children in hospitals. And actually, we've branched out. Before it was just in the New York City area. We are nationwide now. So we just started up in Atlanta, and we've
Can't
got
wait to see you in Vegas.
chapters ready in Vegas. We've actually got a rep out there, so
Oh,
we're working on
nice.
that. And right now, actually, the pandemic was a blessing in disguise because now we're able through Zoom to get to all of those hospitals, and we do sing-alongs and we do Broadway bingo, and the kids can call and ask questions, and we just have a fantastic time.
And I'll
So
tell you, it's a great cause, guys. I give to it. You should too.
please
Uh,
do.
Skeeter, you want to tell us about your nonprofit that you're working with right now?
Yeah, so a bunch of us gearheads here in the Central Valley of California have decided that we want to do something with kids that have not gotten the best turn at life. That maybe have been in trouble, not a lot of family, and we just want to give that back to them. We want to love on them, and so we've created Right Turn Racing. What it is we were given a bunch of old cars that we're going to turn into race cars. We're going to let these kids build them, grow, and learn how to work on cars, and then actually get on the racetrack and turn some laps to just have fun and put a smile on their faces. So we're working on it as we speak. We just love what we do. We have fun with it. Love getting a little greasy every once in a while. So keep an eye out for us. We'll be on the web soon. So Right Turn Racing is on its way.
Fantastic cause, and I will personally vouch anything for Skeeter. If he says everything's going to it, everything is going to it. It's a fantastic cause. He's been telling me about it for a couple of months. I think it's absolutely fantastic, and I think that Satomi just fell in love with Skeeter on that.
It's just the most amazing thing ever. Whenever I
Outstanding.
come out to California, I'm gonna be like, I want to go. I want to come play.
Okay, and as you all know, we do not do politics on the show, and we get a little more than usual today,
Nope.
but we didn't. But I'm saying this: I don't care who you vote for. Vote. Don't be a butthole to anybody that votes for anybody opposite to you. In fact, between the whole panel, I did the math. I think we all canceled each other's votes out, and we all love each other, and so it doesn't matter. Just vote, and just let that be the end of it. Don't be good
Don't
to
let
each
your
other.
vote go to waste, guys. You
Yeah.
can do it.
As
It's
a
your
matter of fact, I've got a voting PSA coming out in the next few days, so keep an eye out for it.
and it'll be
And
on the
again,
iHeartGeek page, I'm sure.
Wonderful,
'Cause
wonderful.
everything goes on that thing.
Just vote. Just
Vote.
vote.
Okay. Until next time, with me is Miss Pixie, we have Skeeter, and we have Miss Satomi, and I am Dub, and keep on geeking on. We love you. Be good to each other.
May
See you
the
next time,
Schwartz
guys.
be with you.
May the Schwartz
May the
definitely be
Schwartz
with
be
you.
with ya.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.